And that moment was the one that showed me, Quentin, when you use your voice, it can be powerful.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
So when it comes to like strategizing, mobilizing, and making to make that effort and make that change, take it outside of like what you experienced in college, but like when you're approached to maybe policy or the things that are happening in the world today, like how would you tell, I guess, the youth or the younger generation to get involved to do that very thing that you're talking about?
What I would tell them is to always, one, stay in the know, right? It's important to stay up to date with current events. And we were talking before the podcast, it doesn't always have to be political news.
Yeah.
Just, reading the news. And some people have, hesitancy about trusting like mainstream media. You don't have to just read mainstream media, just read.
Yeah.
Read. People really forget what it means to just like get a text in front of you, read and learn something from it in the age of ChatGPT and all these other things, which I think are great.
Right.
But we need to commit ourselves to learning, continuing to learn, and making sure that we're up to date with what's happening in our world. And then the second piece I would put is find what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about student athletes getting paid like NIL likeness, then learn that system. If you're passionate about making sure that there's no potholes in your town, learn that system. Because Church Road, that might not be a road that's owned by your local township. It's
Right.
owned by the county.
Yeah.
So you go into the mayor and yelling at him about the roads, Church Road having a bunch of potholes. The mayor's going to listen to you for an hour and then say, well, that's a county road. It's not my jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And then you just wasted an hour of your life because you didn't want to do the diligence beforehand to say, okay, well, who owns this road? And I always tell young people, I'm like, to understand before you expect, you have to inspect. Understand the situation, understand the problem. That way we can understand which solution is best for the situation. And the third piece is I would tell young people, and I've heard this on other podcasts, there's a lot of political apathy. Like we've all heard someone say, you could vote for a Republican, you could vote for a Democrat, nothing's going to change. They're all the same. They're all in the pockets of big corporations and all these types of things. I reject that. I reject that because we can do more than just vote for a Democrat or a Republican. We can strategize, mobilize, and organize our communities to understand these issues so we can affect change. But we can't let our inability to solve all the issues of today stop us from at least trying. And I always tell folks, you can't let your inability to do everything stop you from doing something. Right. And if you look throughout history, all of the greatest moments, all the greatest social movements came from a large group of people doing individual small things. And that culminating into change that changes our country. So I always try to remind folks, it's like you're not going to solve homelessness tomorrow. You're not going to solve the housing crisis, but you can do something today that takes a step forward. And the direction is more important than the speed when it comes to that issue.
Correct. I can agree with that for sure. When it came to, you said you worked under Senator Cory Booker. What was that like working on his campaign when he was running for president at the time?
Yep.
Tell me about that experience.
Yeah. So 3 days after graduating college, I moved to New Hampshire to work on the presidential campaign for Senator Cory Booker, and he was running against Donald Trump in 2020. Right. He was one of many Democrats vying to be the Democrat to run against Donald Trump. And of course, Joe Biden ended up winning the election. However, I was in New Hampshire being a community organizer, talking to Granite Staters is what they go by, talking to Granite Staters about why they should elect a black man from New Jersey to beat Donald Trump. And in the moment, what I saw is that a lot of people loved Senator Booker. Some people didn't know him, but once they knew him, they liked him.